Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone podcast. My name is Kathy. On January 22nd, Judge Stephen J. Hippler entered an order denying the defense's motion to unseal IGG suppression briefing and hearing. He states here in paragraph 1 that this order memorializes a ruling that was proclaimed from the bench during a hearing on January 21st, and then he gives his reasoning why he's denied this motion. As defendant has observed, the court states in paragraph 2, this case has garnered intense, if not overwhelming, national and international attention in the media, which has led to the sealing of several filings, and the court is very clear that he means temporarily sealing when necessary to, quote, preserve the right to a fair trial. And then he points out that Judge John Judge, who was the presiding jurist prior to change of venue in September 2024, entered a comprehensive non-dissemination order which was denied to prevent publicity about evidence that may or may not be ultimately admitted at trial from tainting a prospective jury pool. And among the sealed filings is the briefing on defendant's motion to suppress relative to genetic information, which the parties stipulated to filing under seal. So the court here is pointing out that it was the parties who went to the court and asked that all of this briefing, the motion, the response, the reply to the motion to suppress genetic briefing, be kept under seal. This is a key point. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that it was the parties themselves, including Mr. Kohberger, who first went to Judge Hippler and said, Judge, we believe that this information needs to be kept under seal. So now he states that defendant seeks to unseal this briefing, motion, response, reply, as well as the hearing on the suppression motion. He points out that the public has long been aware that law enforcement used investigative genetic genealogy, IGG procedures in investigating this case. However, because the details of the IGG investigation have been withheld from the public, defendant contends that there is a significant and prejudicial misinformation circulating in the public's eye about his guilt. Unsealing, he argues, will correct such information, protect his Sixth Amendment right to a public trial, and preserve the public's First Amendment right to know what is going on in its courts. The state responds that it has no objection to unsealing the IGG evidence after trial. So what we're hearing here is the state says, after this trial, we have no problem with having this IGG information unsealed. However, doing so prior to the trial poses a significant risk of tainting the jury pool, according to the state, which the court agrees. In the next 2 paragraphs, the court cites to the First Amendment to the United States Constitution and to U.S. Supreme Court case law citing to the First Amendment, and does acknowledge that these rights benefit the accused to the extent the presence of interested spectators may keep his triers keenly alive to their sense of their responsibility and the importance of their function. So this is one of the reasons why the First Amendment operates, to ensure that the public know what is going on in the court system. However, he then points out that the right to a public trial may yield. That means that it's not in every case. There may be situations where, quote, an overriding interest based on findings that closure is essential to preserve higher values, narrowly tailored to serve that interest. So what the court is basically saying here, this higher interest in ensuring that a jury pool is not tainted, wins in the end. The issue here is the court does agree that it is proper to unseal after trial, but not before. And having considered the alternative, the court finds that keeping the IGG briefing and testimony temporarily sealed until after trial at the latest is the best way to go at this point. So therefore, in the end, the defendant's motion to unseal is denied by Judge Hippler. This will now conclude this episode of the Indie Zone podcast. This is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.